nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, oh, still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends, this being more than friends, yeah. You know I'm here to stay every single day, yeah. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, oh, still can't believe you love me. Falling into your arms, dancing up in the stars. Oh, where I'd rather be than with you. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, oh, still can't believe you love me. Oh, oh, I can't believe you love me. Oh, I just feel so lucky. Oh, still can't believe you love me.
Hello, Lance Ward. Hello and welcome. It's finally Tuesday. I'm so glad to be able to get back to doing these lives. Last week was unbelievable. Like I said, if you watched the news yesterday, I had to spend most of the week redoing the website, replying back to the web server and telling the people that, everything's been secured, shouldn't be an issue again. And then had to put the news together over the course of the weekend. It was quite fun, let me tell you. I know it's not one of the most interesting or the most exciting news that I've put together before, but it usually isn't when you start tracking the money and then you find out that this organization's tied to this organization and this organization's tied to that one. And they're all shaking each other's hand and patting each other on the back. And sometimes I wonder if we're barking up the wrong tree, going after our local politicians when there's bigger players involved in this than just them. And sometimes I wonder if our organizations that represent us would be better served, lobbying other people besides the elected representatives. I mean, on a local scale, obviously, you got to fight the legislation where it's at. When you're talking about a national policy, I think there's time for us to expand our horizons and talk to other people and get out of this bubble that we're in this repetitive cycle that seems to be chipping away at our rights to be able to not smoke. But it is what it is. I'm glad to be here. It's finally Tuesday again. Time to do some mixing, time to do some chilling, time to revisit some of the recipes that we've already mixed up. So before we go and do that, how about we jump over and take a look at what happened yesterday in the news? All righty, just a quick rundown. FDA has got to be getting tired playing whack-a-mole with the vaping industry. They go and they regulate all electronic cigarettes and vaping products. They go and they force everybody to do the PMTA process. They go and they issue all these marketing denial orders for everyone except for the three big players. And now they're going to have to repeat this whole scenario again with synthetic nicotine. Except now this time, the industry is a little better prepared and has their hands tied even more. They're better prepared because they realized what happened the first time around. But they had a very short window to resubmit applications. Now it's just a matter of time trying to figure out what's actually going to happen. All right, what else we got going on here? That article was written by Lindsay Stroud. And Jim McDonald wrote a nice article, Vaping and Nicotine Consumer Groups, talking about how there's more than 50 vaping and nicotine consumer rights groups around the world now, and there's more forming all the time. But there are lots of countries where there are no consumer groups representing our vapors to the lobbyists, to the markets, to the governments, and standing up for our rights as a consumer. Sure, the industry, they've got the money to back, certain people, and they do their own lobbying as much as they can, but the industry isn't as big as it used to be. How effective is their lobbying abilities? It's time for us to get together, form our own consumer groups in the countries that don't have representation. Australia is one of those countries listed there. Yeah, they have the Australian Tobacco Harm Reduction Association. It's not an industry group, but it's not necessarily a consumer group either. It's just a close-knit group that's doing that, advocating over there. Anyway, you can go and check out vapors.org.uk if you want to follow up on this daily news that's out there. And once again, I'm going to recommend you go and check out Dr. Colin Mendelssohn's website. Take a look at these very short videos. Each of these videos is only about 30, 40, 50 seconds long max, and there's 8 of them, telling you the simple vape truths. If you're out there advocating for harm reduction, each of those little individual videos would be a great thing for you to be able to reply to certain people when they post misinformation out there. So it's a resource that's available to you. Colombia threatens to raise taxes. Switching reduces vascular damage. We've talked about this before multiple times. The scientific studies that are out there show that when a smoker switches to vaping, they improve their vascular output. They improve their cardiovascular health overall. COPD gets better for people that got COPD while they were smoking and then switched to vaping. The science is out there. It's uncontrovertible at this point. Sure, there's going to be people that are going to argue about it, but you have to take a close look at the science and find out, were they doing something to achieve an end result? Or were they just doing straight up science that can be replicated by anybody else to come up with the exact same results? All right. This is supposed to be mixing and chilling, so we're going to jump out of this and head over to revisit some of the recipes that we've done. William Dobson, hello. People who give false information about vaping should be held accountable. I completely agree with you. But who's the one that's going to be doing the policing? And who's the one that's going to do the accountability? It's up to us as the consumer. This is the only industry that I know of where the consumer has to fight for their right to keep using the products. Unbelievable. All right. First thing that I want to do is I want to address something from 2 episodes ago. This was episode 7. I mixed up a one shot. It was the grape and fruits one shot. And that was by my sponsor, Flavrz. Now, I did that and put it on a brand new Kelpie. I broke the cardinal rule. When you go to taste something, when you're doing DIY mixing, you need to put it on something that you are completely familiar with, something that you use all the time. You know, either a big tank like this, or if you were getting into DIY, get yourself a dedicated dripper that you can use to test flavors. Because when you take and you put something in a tank that you're not familiar with coils that you're not familiar with, you're going to be running it at an approximate wattage that you think is going to be appropriate for it. And that's what I did when I built the Kelpie. And I filled it with this grapes and fruit. Unfortunately, I was running the wattage way too high for it. 0.23 ohms, I should be able to run that thing at 40 or 50 watts without any issues. But the problem was, with that particular tank, that was too high of a wattage. And there's more than enough airflow for that coil to stay relatively cool. But the flavor that I was getting from that wasn't the flavor of this grapes and fruit. An easy way for you to tell, you do your little self-a-knuckle test. That's the flavor you should get when you vape. There shouldn't be too much difference between what you taste on a knuckle and the flavor that you get when you're vaping. If there's a drastic difference, there's something that's not right. And I wasn't paying attention to that. So today, I'm going to take this grapes and fruit and I'm going to put it in this Aspire Odin. Because the Aspire Odin was a tank that I used for the longest time. And I'm very familiar with how it is. It is very clean, regardless of what e-liquid is put into it. So, I'm going to break open a fresh coil. I'm going to take the liquid that we made, prime that coil. This was one of those tanks where this is something that you definitely needed to do because you don't want the edge of that to get singed. All right, push that down in there. Now I've got a mess to clean up. And just like that, trying to find the mark to open it, the slide fill. I'm going to fill this thing up and give this thing a try to see what the actual flavor is of this thing. Because honestly, I didn't give a fair review of this thing. And that's something that I realized when I went back to revisit these recipes, and that's something you need to do. When you come up with a recipe, sure, it might be a great shake and vape, but it's going to change. What's it going to be like after a week? A great e-liquid is not simply just coming up with a perfect recipe that you can shake it right off the bat, vape it, and it's always going to taste like that forever. Perfect example. Open Road, a company that was no longer in business, the Sauce LA, was a fantastic Fruit Loops flavor. Well, when they were going out of business, we went and bought a bunch of them and put it into our freezer, pulled it out, and went to vape on it. Okay, it was cool. Fruit Loops isn't a flavor that I normally like to have. So it got set aside. I handed it off to my wife. She wasn't impressed by it either, so it sat in her purse for a while. Now, here we are. How many months after I pulled this out of the freezer, and this no longer tastes like Fruit Loops? Yeah, it's got the hint of that fruity flavor and the aspects of it, but it doesn't have that punch that you expect the flavor to have. And it's kind of just muted and dull. This is basically round file material at this point. I mean, you could go and add some more flavoring to it and try and boost it back up, but these things only have a limited shelf life. And that's something that a great recipe will be able to endure. And as it ripens, it actually gets better. So that's our goal. Now, this taught me a very simple lesson. I mentioned it before. You have to know your flavors. If you don't know what the flavor is supposed to taste like, well, then when you go to vape on it, you have no basis of comparison. And that's what I didn't do with this grapes and fruit. So, enough about that. Let's go and revisit two of the other recipes that we did. We have the Nerds we mixed up for Capella, and the Giobetta, which is a guava. Now, my wife taught me something when she was cooking the other day, and it's kind of obvious, and I don't know why I never thought about it before. She's a fantastic cook. Well, regardless of what you want for dinner, she can whip something up, and it's delicious. And I'm like, well, how do you know how much to season or what seasonings to put on it? And she's like, smell it. Smell your seasoning, and then decide if that's what you want to add to your flavor of your dish that you're making. Another one. Smell it and then vape it. And you know exactly which one is which. Well, how about I put some music back on? There we go. Now, after this has been sitting here for a while, it's no longer just a simple guava. It does taste like you're biting into something with guava in it. But it's a broader palette, a broader profile than just a single flavor. This is a very good recipe, but I do think it needs some sweetness to make that flavor pop a little more. As far as our nerds, well, let's put some on there and give that a try.
I wish you could see yourself just sitting there on my chair. I'm staring at you.
When we were camping last week to try and get the camper finished up, getting the roof repair fixed on it, my wife went out and bought some nerds, and I tried them. And now, instead of them coming all mixed in the box, they actually come individually in a round container. You get to pick each of the flavors, and then you can mix them up if you want to. I get where this Nerds is going. I get the sweetness out of it, but there's just no real pop to any of the fruit flavors that you would expect from the different colored Nerds. And it's not like it's a blend of fruit flavors. It's just sweet. So, unfortunately, that's not a all-day vape recipe that I'm going to be recommending. And that's something that I'm going to be doing with each of these things. Once I've sat on the recipes long enough, I'll review. I have an Excel sheet that I started. I review the recipe the day I make it, the next day, the 3 days into it, a week later, and then 2 weeks later. And then I'll actually go and post the recipe review up onto the website. But this is all a learning experience. And the fundamental fact is you need to know your flavors. So that's what today's goal is going to be. My wife asked for an apple butter e-liquid. So one of the flavors that came in the Wonder Flavor trial pack was apple butter. So we're going to go over to ELR, jump onto the website, and we're going to find this flavor. And we're going to take a look at what the notes say for apple butter. This gives us all a starting point when we go to mix our liquid. Apple butter by Wonder Flavor, 3.5%. Moving on to the apple butter. When I was first mixing these up, this one caught my nose, and I thought it almost had some Fuji elements in it. After a short steep, that proved to be the case when testing it. Many people don't even actually know what apple butter is. And there's a recipe there. My wife knows exactly what apple butter is. It's her favorite thing to pick up every fall. Now, there's no butter, but maybe there should be. Just about every apple butter I've ever tried was fairly dark in appearance and taste, plenty sweet, and most times had at least some cinnamon and cloves in it. Very accurate. This one presented a somewhat brighter apple, almost an apple medley, with maybe some spices, but very low in the mix. Now, this is not what this guy expected, or typical apple butter experience, because it's supposed to be caramelized apples. Essentially, that's what the flavor profile of apple butter is. So this guy's hitting the nail on the head. And he mixed it up at 3.5%. So we're going to use that as the basis to formulate our own recipe for this apple butter. We have another reviewer here said mixed apple butter 2%, tested after 1 week, expected some sort of sweet cooked down applesauce. And it's not only that, it's warm, puree apple with moderate sweetness, hints of caramel, and almost creamy mouthfeel. I don't get any spices like cloves or cinnamon, but these flavors would work well together. That's an easy fix. for us when we're mixing our own. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to create our own recipe. All right, so we're going to take and do a 4%, because we're going to get the max flavor out of it that we can possibly get. And I know it's a very concentrated flavor, and this may be an overdone version of it. But that's why we're only going to make 10 mils of it right now, just to be able to try it and see what it's like. And it's a very simple mix. And just like I said, this is just a trial. We're going to get to know the flavor. We're going to mix it up at 4%, and we're going to try that. And then, because it's mixed up at 4% and there's no other flavors in this, we could literally take a 70-30 base and we can change that percentage and cut it back. We can try it at the 4%. We can cut it back by adding 25% more VGPG solution to it, and now we've got a 3%, and so forth and so on. To find out what it is, the different proportions and how they relate to each other. So, without further ado, let's pull out the scale, let's pull out a bottle, and mix up a little batch of this apple butter. One that's definitely going to be in the peak of season here very shortly. Hard to believe it's almost time for the kids to go back to school. Where did the summer go? Oh, and one other little piece of announcement that I should make. My DNA reference mod is back in my hand. What a fantastic experience from Evolve, let me tell you guys. I submitted a claim to get an RMA for this device, packaged it up, shipped it off, UPS, right to their door. Within 2 days, they were sending it back to me, completely repaired, 100%, free of charge, just like that. This is a company that stands behind their product, and I love how accurately the DNA chips are. I'm really looking forward to being able to use that on a regular basis again. One of those things that I picked up just so that I could have a reference point for how DNA mods work and an accurate temperature control suite to be able to test devices out with. Probably the most underused mod that I've purchased. Okay, so flipping overhead. Hey, Kenny, my apologies for not reaching out to you. I sincerely want to apologize for not reaching out to you, but because my web server was down last week, I wasn't able to send you an invite to do this live. So if you'll forgive me, I'll send you an invite after we get done with today's session. We'll hook up and get you on the show next week if you're available. All right, move stuff into view. My desk is a mess. I apologize, but I've just simply been too busy with other stuff. All right. Very well, we have that there. Now, when we're mixing a 10 mil solution, the amount that we're actually going to be putting in is going to be very, very small. For example, our secret sauce is only 0.62. That's why I love using a syringe to do this. The advantage of using a syringe is you can change what size blunt tip you put on here, and that allows you to also make corrections. And if the blunt tip that you're using, the drop size is too big, if you put a smaller blunt tip on there, the drop size will be smaller and will take more drops to produce the equivalent amount. Now we'll go with our PG. This is 2.08. You know what I mean? One drop too many and you're over. Okay, now our apple butter is only going to be 0.4. It does smell like apple butter when you first open the jar. I get the apple. I get kind of a caramely note to it. It's a little astringent because of the concentration of it on a direct taste. 0.4. There we go. Now we need 8.8 of VG. Fantastic. Give that a good shake and let's switch over. See what you guys are talking about in chat. And let me switch over to the live chat instead of the top chat, because I found out last time when I rewatched the show, there was a bunch of chat that I missed because it was selected on live chat. Alrighty. Thank you, Kenny. I appreciate that. I'm missing part of the conversation there. Normal or Hog XL. William Dobson. Can't wait for them to go back to school. Yeah. See, with my daughter, it's 50-50 shared custody, so I only get to see her half the time anyway. She's not here enough to annoy us to have her go back to school. That, plus she's at the age now where she's becoming independent. She's got her driver's license. It won't be long before she'll be able to go and do what she wants to do. Within reason. Vapors Cloud just released the Saga in an 18650, and it's a good series mod, a lot lighter than the 21700. I'll have to take a look at that after the show. There are so many fantastic devices out there, and I've come to realize that, some of them, there's very little difference between this one or that one. It's just an incremental improvement over the last series that's out there. It's very rare now for somebody to come up with something that is truly remarkable. For me, that Arbiter was the most remarkable thing I had ever come across. Because compared to the other rebuildables that I've had, they were all finicky. Even if they were really good, it required you to be very meticulous about how much cotton you put in, what size the coil was, how close it was to the airflow. A difference of 1 millimeter either way could completely ruin the flavor, or if it was too close, could really cut back the airflow. And then you try a smaller coil size and try and place it right again. I mean, I understand that, the crafting aspect of vaping is all about tinkering and having fun and experimenting, but at the time, I was just looking for something that I could consistently do perfect every single time. And every time I did it and rewicked it, it was a perfect vape. No messing around. That's why I loved the Arbiter so much. They gave you the perfect set of coils when you got it. If you equal distance that coil in between the spaces around it, it was always a perfectly consistent vape. And I'm embarrassed to say that the original one that I have still has the original coil in it. I clean the thing off, rewick it, and keep using it because it still works great. However, I have noticed that it is time for that one to be replaced. Probably should have replaced it a long time ago. But it still works fantastic when I wick it. Unbelievable. What is you guys that are out there, what is your favorite tank, rebuildable tank that you have? Or if you don't do rebuildables, what's your favorite tank that you use as an all-day vape now? Just curious for my own personal edification. I've got so many things here. I've been spoiled by how many different devices I've picked up over the years. And spoiled by how good technology has evolved in the vaping industry. With the exception of like this Voopoo drag with their rubber cap fill thing, most of the stuff that I've come across and I pick up and I've seen come out, it's just fantastic because they've worked out all the bugs already. Hello, Deb. Welcome to the show. Hi, honey. Your poochies were in here. They did not want to come back inside. I was almost late for the show. Reload 26 is still my favorite RTA. Is that the QP design? Reload? I just saw my V Pro got a bunch of stuff in from QP. Deb22 loves mesh tanks. Mesh tanks are great. They really saturate your mouth with flavor and the vape is really wet, but you gotta be meticulous about how you wick them. I haven't found one yet that you can literally, well, the Steam Crave, but that's because it's a dual series mesh. And that one was so easy to get the wicking in correctly and get it cut and it fit in there and it didn't leak and it always produced fantastic flavor. But that's because you're also running half the amount of current through it in the setup that it was. I was surprised by how long it lasted. Those mesh coils in there lasted. Vapor Queen Becky, hello. What's your all-day vape that you use? RTA or tank or pod? What's your favorite all day? Bruni Saint, good day, mate. Welcome to the show. Hello, Free Ride Vapor. We're just having a conversation about what's our favorite tanks and stuff. Now, this Kelpie that I put this grape liquid in, I was running this thing at like 45 watts. Should have been fine. 0.23 ohm coil. I've got to cut back now. I'm down to 35 watts in this thing. And now I can taste grape. And I can taste that it's sweet. Unfortunately, because I was running the coil so high, I can still taste that. It's not a caramel note, but it's that, and it's not even a burnt note. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It doesn't give you the caramel flavor, but just like if you were to take any applesauce, for example, and you were to cook it down and cook it down and cook it down, that point between when it's completely cooked and it's starting to go bad, that's the flavor I was getting out of this. So now, I'm going to put this Kelpie off to the side. And we're going to try out this Odin out of the space stand. Time for me to clean my desk off and put some of these things up on the shelf. So there we have the Inspire Odin, O-D-A-N. Did it recognize 0.23? It's supposed to be a 0.2, I believe. .2 ohm, 50 to 60 watts. Used to run at 55. Let's force it to reanalyze the coil. Go up to 55 watts, and let's try this grapes and fruit to see what it's like. It will help if I open the airflow. Way better. I can taste the sweetness of it. And I can also get that tail end of it, which is what I was getting. That was the only part of the flavor profile I was getting when I put it into that Kelpie. Now I get a wide flavor profile. Yep. When you bite into a grape and you get that meaty flavor of the grape, nice, sweet, flavorful vape. I'm not sure what kind of grape it would be, though. I mean, that's the thing about grapes. You can have so many different kinds. You go to the store to buy them, to eat them, and you can get the red ones, you can get the green ones, you get seedless ones, you get the ones with the seeds, and they're all a little different. It's a very sweet vape, and I didn't get any of that sweetness before in the Kelpie. I'm gonna need to sit on this for a while, give my impression on it, but I really like it. This is something I could vape all day. Of all the ones I've tried from their One Shot, that Icy Pole is my favorite. Matter of fact, for the last review, I originally mixed up a little 30 ml bottle, TPD compliant, 20 ml max for the Nick. And then I mixed up a 60 ml bottle of 10 milligram for my wife to keep using it. She loves that little pod thing so much she wants to order more coils for it. And that's a rarity. Normally when I get something, she'll try and she'll go, you can have it. That was one that she decided she wants to keep and she wants to keep using. And it was fun for me to make that review video too, because everybody does their own little spin and twist on things to get people interested in it. Well, I decided, you know what? Since this is something that's going to appeal a large mass of people, especially people younger than me, well, I need to choose appropriate music for that crowd. We'll see how it does in the long run. All right. Give a little vortex spin for this apple butter. And let's give it a try and find out what it's like.
Don't waste your time being mad at me. Say what you mean, say what you mean. And you'll get what you need, get what you need.
Beautiful. Which one of these tanks am I going to try this on? I need to get my hands on some more of these Bushidos. Everywhere I've looked, it's been out of stock. Put it on the recurve. I just dropped the cap. Well, that one rolling underneath my desk, so we're not going to be able to use this one. Ah, there we go. Got this old suicide mod one that we did before. Let me switch over head so you guys can see what I'm doing. Very interesting design on the airflow on this. See the channels for the airflow right here that come up? Well, inside the top cap, they go into a channel here that continues going upward and then directs the airflow directly at the sides of the coil. Very interesting design. And because it's only 10 ml, let's make sure that it's really closed. Let's put some on here and saturate this. New atomizer, yes. Make sure that cotton is really well saturated. Make sure that's lined up properly. There we go, fully seated. Well, that's tight trying to adjust that airflow. Sorry, folks. Slide that out. Put some lube on here. Lube up this O-ring because that airflow did not want to move. You ever have one of those days where everything's just dropping left and right? There we go. Much better. All right, wipe off the excess. So this is ohming out at 0.35. Start off at like 35 watts. Bump the wattage up a little. I see what the comments were about. You get the apple. It's kind of like an apple sauce. There is kind of a caramel note to it, but it's not a apple butter profile. This is one I'm going to have to sit on, come back and revisit it and see if this is a profile that's going to develop a little bit. But I think it needs a lot of help to be an accurate apple butter. Somebody asked me last time, what's my favorite flavor, favorite flavoring company? And I said to them, I said, it's kind of a loaded question because every single flavoring company out there has an amazing flavor that you literally use as a single ingredient. And basically it's a one shot because of how good accurate that flavor profile is. And every flavoring company out there has flavors that you can use as building blocks for complex recipes. And every flavoring company out there has dud. Unfortunately, at this point, unless something changes, this Wonder Flavors apple butter is kind of a dud. Yeah, I get the aspect of it. Yeah, it's a useful flavor, but it's more of a building block than something you could use as a one shot. However, I do think that this is going to be a good recipe for us to be able to learn what the different sweeteners do to our recipes. I've got Capella Super Sweet. We've got Flavrz sweetener. We've got TFA sweetener. And we can take this recipe that we have now and use each of those three sweeteners in there to get a better understanding of how each of those add sweetness to our recipe. Not bad, but it's not an apple butter that I would expect to find commercially available anywhere. Kenny, that's what my wife and I ate for dinner last night. She's on her way home from work and she's like, I just don't feel like cooking tonight. I says, well, that's great. Where do you want to eat? Redheaded, I can't say the word on YouTube, or McDonald's. It's like, well, I'm not going to go past the McDonald's, so can't do that. Well, I must have got her gears spinning in her mind because she called me back later and she's like, how interested are you in Wendy's? I'm like, what? Actually, I would prefer a Big Mac and chicken nuggets. And that's exactly what we had for dinner last night. It was fantastic. Hit the spot. My only complaint about McDonald's is no matter what you get from there, if you eat it, an hour later, you're hungry again. I don't know what they're using for their ingredients for their sandwiches, but it goes right through your bloodstream. This is one of those flavors that grows on you. It's good, but it's not very accurate. And we bumped the percentage up to 4 to try and get a stronger aspect of it. Here's where experimentation is going to be the key to learning how to make a great recipe. We did it at 4%. Now we need to do it at like 2%. Let's do it at 6% and find out how that flavor profile changes depending on the strength that you're using it at. And then we'll add some sweetener to it and come up with a good apple butter that we can have come Thanksgiving, which is apparently right around the corner. Sounds like Chinese food, being hungry an hour later. Well, considering how fast rice gets metabolized in your blood system, or the pasta that they're using for the wontons, that's kind of expected. Protein is what takes your body a while to consume and metabolize. Not so much a sugar spike for you. The Grand Big Mac was the closest that we got in the UK. Kenny says here in the UK, they ain't big enough. It's interesting how over the course of the years from when I was growing up, the size of their drinks have gotten humongous. I mean, you get a drink now and it's like this tall, this bigger wide on the top. And there's like 10-cent difference between that and a medium size, and 10-cent difference between that and a small, which is what used to be the normal size when we were growing up. Everything got supersized. But that's because it only cost them a couple pennies to give you that drink. Sandwiches, on the other hand, have meat and bread. And depending on what you're eating, like a Big Mac, you got the salad and onions and everything else in there. Well, those costs add up quick. They can only control that to a certain extent. That's also why all of their meat patties are so thin. They can cook them really quick. And it goes right through you. Deb22 says, we had a heat wave for weeks and now it feels like fall. Not ready for that in August. I just commented to my wife yesterday about the fact that our air conditioner finally shut off. It's been running nonstop all summer long. Well, until it quit while we were at camp and I had to change the start capacitor. Simple $20 fix. But it started right back up again. And then yesterday, it was like 70 degrees outside and it shut off because it finally cooled the house down. And it was comfortable. Uh-oh. Wifey's getting hungry. Well, you have to DoorDash it. Sorry, hon. All right, folks, that takes care of our little recipe that we did. How about we hold true to what this show's about, and that is reviewing other people's recipes out there. So it's time for us to switch back over. We've got this here. I'll leave comments after the show. Go to my flavor stash, and let's see what I can make. And let's take a look at good old Sherlock Holmes. Speaking of which, that's my shirt today. Join the resistance. Little electronics gameplay there. Alrighty, what are we gonna make today? Blue strawberry? What's blue strawberry? Blue raspberry cotton candy, blueberry, super sweet, and sweet strawberry. What percentages are you using there? Capella, 3%, blueberry, 4%, sweet strawberry, 4%. All right. I'm always interested in seeing if I can come up with a better recipe for my blue raspberry cotton candy. I think this is going to be our recipe today. keep it simple.
But my feet are walking to a different sound.
So we'll adapt this. We're going to make a 30 ml bottle.
Finally free. The mirror I can see
We'll keep everything else the same.
me.
Hit save. Here's our lovely recipe.
I wasted too much time.
And grab a fresh bottle.
'Cause there's no fixing what's been broken. This ain't the first
Let me move the webcam.
love is gone, and there's no road leading us back home. This ain't
Almost switch this over. Get rid of
time. At the
our text.
of the barrel, there's no love to be found. This ain't the first time I'll be drinking you off my mind.
All right, so we need Capella, blue raspberry cotton candy, fantastic, blueberry Capella, awesome, and you're not in color. You can't see what I'm doing. There we go. That's better. Here's our Capella.
Wasted too much time. I've been blind.
Super sweet,
'Cause there's no fixing what's been
sweet strawberry.
This ain't the first time I'll be drinking you off
Easy to find the ingredients when this is something that you use all the time.
to be drinking.
And that's it. There is all of our ingredients. And I'm looking the wrong way because I picked the wrong. There's all of our ingredients. Fantastic. Okay.
I don't know how long
Hmm.
I'll get to hold your
I'm telling you, I was born to do this. When you first quit smoking with vaping, it's all about trying to find your all-day vape, your thing that you can rely on no matter what. For the longest time, that was my Salty Man Purple Rain. Beautiful grape. My daughter got sick of grape because that's all she ever smelled. Then became blue raspberry cotton candy, OG Blue from Keep It 100. And then I got the Liquid Barn and I made the modifications to it, and I found something that tasted just about as good as that. Didn't quite have as much bite to it, but that was my all-day vape and still is. It's what I always turn to. For that, I've gotten into DIY mixing. It's unbelievable, all these different flavor profiles that are available to us out there. I can't get over how fantastic it is to be able to just pick up a tank, not even know what's in it. And it just leaves you with a smile on your face because it's that delicious. I typically only eat once a day because I'm surrounded by flavors. And they're fantastic. Okay, so let's get this stuff mixed up. All right, make sure that our recipe is accurate. We're going to be making 30 mils total. We'll start with our Capella Blue Raspberry Cotton Candy is 0.94. Wifey's calling. Yes, wifey.
White chocolate raspberry vape.
Oh, that's easy. Liquid Barn has a white chocolate raspberry.
Yeah, well, I want this. That's what I want.
Okay.
And everybody's agreeing with me.
Every-
Bye!
Everybody's agreeing with you.
Yes, white chocolate raspberry.
Your chat must be moving faster than mine because I don't see anybody commenting on it yet.
Yeah, and I even texted you because Lance was like, vape call Hunky and tell him about it. I was like, I texted him. But then you were getting to it, so I was like, I'm calling.
Okay. We'll
Love
mix
you,
that up.
bye.
Love you. Bye. All right. So we went over. It's supposed to be 0.94. We're at 1.08. Not an earth-shattering difference. All right. Blueberry is 1.27. Supposed to be 4%. I need to get some more music added to this playlist. I've got the microphone setting so well that you can't hear it, but I hear the headphones that are hanging on the side of this desk. And I can hear what music is playing. Nice relaxing music to chill to. For us to mix these lovely recipes. Sweet strawberry is 1.2. That's also 4%.
It's one way or the other. No way in between. I ain't getting any younger.
Fantastic. Super sweet is only 0.5%, so that's 0.16. And just like that, maybe one more drop. Can I do it? There we go. Very good. PG is 3.89. I'm so glad I fell into the DIY rabbit hole. It's intimidating when you first get started mixing, trying to come up with a good recipe, especially if the recipes that you're trying to mix aren't very good, aren't very flavorful, and you're so used to the super sweet, extra flavorful commercial recipes that are out there. And the longer you vape, the less flavoring you really need because your palate gets more sensitive to the flavorings that are out there. But when you come across some really good recipes that are out there, strawberry shortcake was one of those ones I did. I think it was my 250 subscriber thank you vlog I mixed it up on. Fantastic. It's one of those recipes when you first mix it up, it is really, really good. The fruit is really prominent on there. You get the really strong strawberry. But if you want to get the actual crumble part of a strawberry custard and the flavorings from the crumble that goes into a strawberry shortcake, you got to wait a couple days for that to develop in the recipe. But it is fantastic. Unfortunately, it's not a very stable recipe. After about 2 months, it starts to muddle those flavors together. The fruit starts disappearing into the background. And all you really get out of it is that crumble taste. You get a hint of the strawberry, but it's not an accurate flavor profile anymore. All right, secret sauce is 1.86. Awesome sauce. All we need now is a good stir. And then 26.5 grams of vegetable glycerin.
You keep me wondering, is our love strong? Just like a love song, baby, it's haunting me. Don't know what you're thinking, it's like I'm sinking deep underwater. Maybe it's harder for me.
Awesome sauce.
Harder for me. Maybe we're over it. Or maybe
I really need to clean my desk. Dropping stuff left and right today.
how to be fearless, so no one can hear us. You're throwing the pillars through the floor. Now put your loving on me. Hey, loving on me.
Oh, I don't have it on this one. I have to switch to this one. And there it is.
Yeah, I want your body too. Yeah, body too. And baby, please.
There's broken clouds out there, but I hear raindrops outside.
It's just sometimes I get scared to dive into it. I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want
What does
your
it smell like?
body, your body too. Yeah, body too. Will you be my ride or die? Around all these people,
Smells like our blue raspberry.
someone better than you and I. Posing for
Mm-hmm. Like a fresh one.
lessons, anything that you have to say. Can we just leave and walk away? Walk away.
All right.
Walk away.
What are we going to put this in? Let me put these flavors back.
See me get emotional, and sometimes I pretend I'm just above it all. But I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body too. Yeah, body too. And baby, please don't think I'll run away from you. It's just sometimes I get scared to dive into it. I want you lying next to me. Yeah, I want your body too. Yeah, body too.
Blue raspberry. I know this is going to color the flavor of our new e-liquid a little bit, but since it's the same flavor profile, should be interesting to see how this does on that mongrel. Saturate that coil real well. Probably flood that. Get the blue raspberry and the strawberry. I don't think that blueberry really changed the flavor much. It does dry your mouth out though. It's a very dry vape. Kind of like champagne. You have Asti Spumani on one side, then you have dry champagne on the other side. Kind of the same flavor profile. Asti Spumani is a lot sweeter. And dry champagne does dry your mouth out when you drink it. Where's that blueberry at? I want to know what just the blueberry flavor tastes like. Not a very good blueberry flavor. Capella blueberry. Has a hint of blueberry. But it's not true to what a blueberry tastes like. I will have to look through my flavor profile, my flavor stash, and see if there's a more accurate blueberry available to try and substitute it out with. It is good. It is different than my liquid barn blueberry that I mix. But not in a way that I think I would replace that recipe and make another big bottle of my OG blue. And I've been experimenting with it. Flavor Revolution has a blue raspberry. I substituted that out into this one. And Flavrz has a blue raspberry. And here is their Australia blue using the recipe they provided me. Very good. They're all a little different. Starting to dry out. Drip a little more. Vape a little more. At the end of this year, my plan is to take the best recipes in all these shows, and I'm going to post them on the website. You guys have them. You can turn to them. There's something for you to try out, and let me know what you guys think about it. Interesting. Haven't put on the shelf, so I can label it after the show. Switch back over to chat, see what you guys are talking about. All right, let me click on this, because what I see here is not. Vaping Heat has a question. I have a 30 mil of concentrate and it recommends 20%. So if I add 70-30 base mix and nic, would 100 mil be the correct amount? Well, I got to ask you, what size bottle are you putting it into? The simplest solution is, let me find your question. Live chat. All right, we'll put that up there. We're going to switch over. We're going to create a recipe for you, Kenny. Okay, so the first question you need to answer, Kenny, is what size bottle are you making? You say 120 mil, so that's what you got to put in here. Amount to make is 120 mil. Now, the desired strength, you can apply it to what you usually use it as, and use the strength that's appropriate for what you have in stock. Like if it was a 20 and you wanted to make 6, because of the limitations or whatnot, or if you happen to have a 100, you can put 100 here, or if you have 60, you can put 60 here. Whatever the concentration is that you have, you need to change that here. Let's just leave it at 100 for now, just hypothetically speaking. Now you have your flavor, and let's say that it's a trifle flavor, because it doesn't exist. And it recommends 20% because it's probably set up as a one shot. So we'll add that in there. And if you don't have any other flavors to do on there, then you don't need that. And then we save it. And here's your recipe that you're going to need. Your one shot, you're going to put 24 grams into your bottle. Your secret sauce will be 7.46 if it's a 100 milligram concentration. And then your VGPG, if it's in a flavor base like this, that it's already mixed up as 70-30, then you just simply take 105 plus 5, so it's 110 mils of this, and there's your recipe. Or if you were mixing them individually, the PG would be 4.98 and the VG would be 105.93. And you want it to be 3. So it's just simply changing what your desired outcome is, your desired strength. And just like that, you have a recipe for your one shot. And it can be customized for any one shot out there. Different one shots have different recommended percentages that are available to it. Like Liquid Barn, they literally write it on the bottle what their suggested percentage is, starting percentage. So for Blue Raspberry, they suggest 8% as the starting strength for this particular one. And you can make this up as a one shot. And then you adjust it up or down based upon what you think, if you want more flavor or less flavor. Perfect example was this icy pole that I did. When I originally mixed up the recipe for this show, I mixed it up for a standard 70-30 because I'm using it in my big tank. But that's not what it is for a one shot. Those one shots, if you go to Flavrz and get this stuff, is designed so you can buy their flavor base, which is strictly 70-30 VG, and it's not filled the whole way. There's room in here for 30 mils of your flavoring that you have here. That will give you a commercial e-liquid as far as the strength profile goes for the flavoring. Now, you can adjust this down like I do for mine. When I do it for my tanks for the Arbiter, for example, I'm averaging 15, 17%, maybe 20% of this to create my e-liquids. That lets me have 3 bottles of a liquid out of this concentrated one shot. But the actual recipe that they sell it as is intended to be sold with your flavor base, which is just VG and PG. And you take half of this bottle and pour it into one, half of the bottle, pour it in the other one, add the nick that you need, give it a shake, and now you've got commercial juice equivalent for yourself to go through. And for the average vapor, I'd suspect this would last you 2 weeks in a direct lung setup. Now, when I did the icy pole for that little pod setup, I increased it to 20% flavoring in this one, just like what you're looking to do in here. So it's actually really simple. And that's the advantage of having websites like this. So you can take anybody's flavoring from all over the world and create your own recipes. And it's based upon what you have in stock on hand. And the recipe, like I said, the flavor doesn't need to be in ELR. You can literally make up your own one shot. Let's say that I come up with a beautiful, perfect example. On my recipes, I was mixing what I thought was going to be a snow cone. And I don't want my flavor stash on my recipe. And what I ended up with was a whiskey. I could literally take all of these. You're not seeing what I'm saying. I could literally take all of these flavors, mix it up, not put in any VG, PG, or the secret sauce, and basically sell that combination, that pre-mixed combination, as a new flavor. It wouldn't be the first person to do this. A lot of flavoring companies out there, that's how they got their start. You know, they took Capella and they took Flavor Art and they took Flavora and they made their own recipe, and then they sell that as a flavor under their own brand. So I could literally take this and sell it as a whiskey flavor. And you could use it as a one shot based on the fact that it's 1, 2, 4, 6.5, 7.5, 8%. I could sell this as a flavor that you could mix up at 8% and come up with the exact same thing that I have here. It's amazing how simple this actually can be once you understand the fundamentals of it. Deb says her Flavor West is your go-to for blueberry. I have very limited Flavor West profiles. I've got the eggnog, I've got yellow cake, and cake batter, because that was part of the recipe for the strawberry shortcake. But I'll have to get that next time I place an order. It is a very subtle taste. I do understand that. That's something that these flavor companies have to balance out, you know. A flavor that's really super concentrated can easily become very stringent and very harsh. So getting it to the right finished percentages means we need to figure out whether we need to use 1%, 2%, 3%, or for some of these flavorings, they're so strong that you need to use less than 1%. Because anything over that, it's not going to give you an accurate representation of that flavor. All right. I missed that part. My apologies. That's why we're here as a community, to talk to each other and to help each other out and figure all this stuff out. The other reason I like doing this show. It isn't just about me sitting here and talking to you and trying to teach you something, because a lot of this stuff I'm still new to. And a lot of this stuff is just experimentation. But we're always here for each other. And if you ever want to talk to me directly, feel free. Email me, djalex@hunkyvape.com. I'll be happy to have a conversation with you. Is the Prince recipe on there? I don't know. Go to their homepage and search for Prince and see what comes up. Nope, nothing directly. Did I spell it right? Prince? Yeah. Chat overlay. There it is. It's a peach custard flavor with a sweet cream in the custard. That's a very common recipe. Vaping with Vic used to mix up a peach custard until YouTube took his recipe off of YouTube. It was one of those ones when I was first getting started here. I actually downloaded that video, so I'll go find it. I'll have to mix that up one of these weeks. Might even reach out to him, see if he'd be interested in coming on the show once. Wow. 15% of flavor art custard, 20% of white peach, and 5% of Vienna cream from 2016. Those are really high percentages. Flavor totals 44%. Nah. That's something I'll do later on today. I'll find that video. I'll get that recipe. We'll mix it up. Vic's peach custard. Alrighty, so I guess it's time for us to move on to our retro vape. What did I pick up for this week? Or pull out, I should say.
Who you really are, yeah. Don't need you here to say you're sorry.
Okay, we can get rid of the date and the weather.
Wanna leave me, then just do it.
For this week, I picked up
So don't be
UL's
no, I just gotta know.
Nunchaku RDA kit.
Just do it.
So, I'm going to get this thing opened up. If you'll bear with me for a second, I'm going to open this up without doing it on camera because when this came out, they were barcodes all over these boxes. Matter of fact, they didn't even bother covering up the authenticity barcode that they put on these things. If you look at the modern day packaging,
Take it slow, don't be
there's a place on the authenticity barcode that you can scratch off.
gonna leave.
That way it's an incomplete barcode until you scratch it off. Well, I know that the barcodes are all plastered all over this box, so
When I shut my feelings out,
here's the UL Nunchaku.
I'm different. Still you stay 'cause you feel something.
We'll switch overhead.
Get so lost in my moment.
And here we have, in an olive green,
You,
the UL Nunchaku RDA.
I fell in love with your colors. They kind of tell me what I'm thinking. I fell in love with the way we are and the way we lose it. There's something different about us and the reason why we stay. We fly around like paper planes. They never know.
Interesting.
Fall. Nobody can see us. Still they wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are.
See what this dripper looks like. Old style posts.
There's something different about us.
Did they include coils in this package? Let's see.
Different about us. We're pouring cup after cup after
They included cotton.
It's just the way we do
They included O-rings.
anything just to block out the
They included an old style charging cable.
yeah, we're loving the way they
And look at that.
were so messed up.
Fantastic job, UL.
Even if what we're doing is bad, there's so many emotions. Sharing stories that we never had, yeah, none is real. I think we're searching for reasons not to be like them.
Have to use the old try tool. These posts are pretty
Paper
big.
planes, they never know where we
The
will.
threads on this.
Nobody can see us.
Wow.
They wanna tear us apart. There's something different about the way we are. There's something different about us.
And they did give you a squonk pin too.
There's something different about
Awesome.
something different about the way we are.
3mm? Oh no, why would they make it a standard size?
Something different about the
It's a 2.8 or is it 2.5? My guess is probably a 2.8. 2.5 is a little loose. Do my usual prep. I know I just made that coil smaller. Spaced coil. What we're going to end up with here. We're going to put this through. I'm going to tighten these down just enough so I can hold the coil in place. Clip these leads. Awesome sauce. And we'll make the other one match.
When all is over, when all is over, when all is over, all I can see from here is you. When all is over, when all is over.
There we go. So I want to get another camera so you guys can see it from the sides.
When I'll be coming home, then I'll be at your door.
Like how secure that is.
When I'll be coming home.
Unfortunately, those coils, I put them in upside down. Now they're sitting too low. So let's get them pulled up where they need to be.
My heart, the wish I carry high.
Check our placement.
Whenever we're
This is going to need lubed. Pull that apart.
through the night, when I look deep into your eyes. When I look deep into your eyes.
Oh, sorry, Miss Hunky Vape. We do need more cameras.
When
The problem that we have is, you can't tell my face is only 576p, not even 1080p. The overhead camera is 1080p, but I can't control the lighting aspects of it, the shutter speed or anything. It's automatic. But, I mean, what do you expect for a $250 camera? Need some lube on these O-rings as well. So my goal is to get everything into 1080p. And then these other cameras will then be moved to lower locations. So like you can literally see what I'm doing from a side view. All right. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's an easy way to check your coil placement. You can see the coil is exactly where the airflow is. Beautifully centered. That's fantastic. Old Muji cotton. What do I have here?
When I look deep into your eyes, oh, when I look deep into your eyes, when I look deep into your eyes, when I look deep into your eyes.
Beautiful. There's a fair amount of tension in there. So we'll just snip and we'll do the old tuck and roll.
If I could hear my father's voice, he would tell me to move on. He would say I'll be just fine. Yeah, he would tell me we have time to laugh.
One side done.
To heal. Our favorite song is on repeat. Drinking wine until the dawn, knowing soon we'll be back home.
Ah, you got the recipe. Thank you, Kenny.
I'm thinking about you. I'm wishing that you
Ooh, that doesn't gonna work. New piece.
I'm thinking about you. I see that smile on your face.
Coil Master Pro Cotton. They're basically just cotton balls.
In place. Something in the atmosphere. You're always here, you always here. Time to laugh and time to heal. My favorite song is on repeat. Drinking wine until the dawn, knowing soon we'll be back home. Ooh,
Nice tension on there.
I'm thinking about you. And I'm wishing that you knew. That I'm thinking about you. I'm thinking about you.
There we go.
And I'm wishing that you knew.
Now, what are we going to put on this lovely?
Thinking about
Hmm. Put that icy pole on there, the original one I mixed up. I know what it tastes like, what it's supposed to taste like. And I know I probably should have dry burned these coils, but with them being spaced, it's not like they're going to be significant hot spots on them. Ohms out at 0.16. I can smell it from here already. Should have dry burned those coils. I can taste an off note to it that I know is not present in this icy pole. But for something as old as this, that's fantastic. Get the airflow down. Way better. Just a quarter airflow reduction in this. What a difference. Awesome. What an awesome little device. Amazing what happens when you can find some clearance shopping. The UL Nunchaku RDA kit. Wonderful flavor. Considering how much airflow there is, I wouldn't expect it to be this flavorful. That's delicious. Fantastic. I love being able to dig into old stuff. I pulled out the Geek Vape Loop. We'll do that one next time. Crafting aspects of vaping. Keeps you busy. Not that I want to smoke anymore. It's something I never completed. I wanted to do a video covering just how much time do smokers waste lighting tobacco on fire. We all know, how much money we used to spend smoking, but until you're not smoking anymore, you don't realize how much time you actually spent smoking. There's the recipe. Vicks Prince Mix. We have to mix that one up. UK e-liquid mixing site. I'm going to get a hold of you later after we get done with the show today, and you can tell me where that is. The only ones that I know of is all the flavors and e-liquid recipe. How about the wife's juice? Yeah. Gotta keep her happy. What do we got here? Where is it? White chocolate. Oh, that's a white chocolate peppermint. You know what? I think we can make do with that. Raspberry. TFA sweet raspberry. White chocolate peppermint. That's a beautiful sweet raspberry. And I used to use this white chocolate peppermint to make my candy cane. Okay. Let me get the scale. We'll hop over, create our recipe. Hope if I'm clicking on the right screen.
I know you're all about the good vibes. Do you know how much I love you? Wanna see you smile. Where's that happy girl that I know with a heart on fire?
30.
I'll do anything.
Add flavor.
But I can tell that you have something on your mind right now. But I will make you forget all your sorrows. Let go like there's no tomorrow. Let's have a drink, just relax. All your problems will fade. If you're ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party in the backyard, dance your problems away.
Perfect.
I'm all about the good.
Maybe not perfect,
I know you're all about
but a good starting point.
we are all about the good vibes. We are all about the good times. Dance until it feels alright. All night, we're all about the good vibes. All about the good vibes. I will make you forget all your sorrows. Let go like there's no tomorrow. Let's have a drink, just relax. All your problems will fade.
2.4.
Ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party in the backyard, dance your problems away. I'm all about the good vibes. I know you're all about the good vibes. Let's have a drink, just relax. All your problems will fade. If you're ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party in the backyard, dance your problems away. I'm all about the good vibes.
That smells fantastic. All right, our sweet raspberry. We're looking at 0.9. Very fragrant.
All about the good vibes.
0.16.
I wanna close my eyes and go back, play it in my mind. and move
That's a hair over.
to, yeah, we were happy at the time. Can't remember what it felt like. We used
PG is 3.89.
that picture perfect sky now and looks so gray and cold. We've been laying here since 4 a.m. and you haven't said a word to me. Silent treatment, is this what it feels like when your heart is aching, when it bleeds? If it's over, just say it out loud. Say those words, go and just shout it out. Just be honest, be a man.
Secret sauce 1.86.
Say it's over, if it's over. Do you remember when we went to Paris in July? Got stuck out in the rain, but we danced around and didn't mind it. So young and reckless, baby, you and I fit just like a glove, but I guess that's over now. We've been playing his and you haven't said
That raspberry is kind of lost in the odor, in the scent. Peppermint's kind of strong in there, but that doesn't mean it's not going to taste right. All right, and then 26.5 for vegetable glycerin.
Silent treatment, is this what it feels like? If it's over, just say it out loud.
What do I have here that's ready to go?
Just be honest, be a man right now. Say it's over. If it's over.
Oh, let's see. Bruce Pro Innovations needs rewicked. This one is ready to go. Fantastic.
I can understand you're tired of this town, and I'm not saying that we have to settle down now. Just remember this: we could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you must, to do what your dreams are telling you to do. And I'll be out there looking for someone like you. Stardust, stardust. I'm the lazy one.
Need some more power.
I should have known. You said yourself you want to do this alone.
0.15. That's better.
What if your dreams are making
Wicking could be a little tighter in there, but
straight? If you still love me, I can wait, I can wait. And remember this: we could have been stardust, same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you must, to do what your dreams are telling you to do. And I'll be out
I'm losing the white chocolate.
like you.
That peppermint is the dominant note in there, and I can taste the raspberry as a secondary note.
Hey, I don't think you're supposed to go.
It's a pleasant vape. I like it.
Too slow. We should just lean together. We could have been
Just not sure if the wifey's gonna like it.
same world but without us. Something made us find each other out there, made us realize we're more than just stardust. Ignore this fact if you
I'll have to set this off to the side and see what she thinks when she gets home from work today.
telling you. And I'll be out there looking for someone like you.
Interesting. Definitely needs more white chocolate. Not too bad.
Never felt
Very, very delicious flavors today. Unbelievable.
Leaves are falling down, but at least they grow back. While I'm on a one-way track. Now I know what it means to grow.
I definitely concur. White chocolate peppermint at Christmas time is fantastic.
Yeah, now I know the time I've got, it is just enough to get by.
Let's do that.
Yeah, it is just enough to get by.
There you go. That answers the question.
Sometimes I understand
Now we're following him.
making all the wrong demands in life. It never pays.
There's all of his recipe. Bavarian cream, peach, strawberry ripe, sweet cream, vanilla custard. Delicious. Speaking of custards, it's time that we go back to checking out Will's custard cookie. We have that on the Mongala.
The time I got, it is just enough to get by. Oh, now I know
There's some fresh
it means to grow.
e-liquid onto there.
Yeah, now I know the time I've got, it is just enough to get by. Yeah, it is just enough to get
Wow, that is delicious. Beautiful, sweet custard. Unbelievable. Definitely need more juice on there. Love it, love it, love it. Gonna have to review that recipe later on today too. Fantastic. All right, let's go back to checking out the chat before we wrap things up for today. Hard to believe it's been 2 hours already. Time flies when you're having fun, that's for sure. Wifey, we made you your white chocolate raspberry. Unfortunately, I didn't have just plain white chocolate. It's white chocolate peppermint. So it's going to have a little bit of that peppermint note in there as well. Hope you like it. Might have to get some more white chocolate without the peppermint in it. Yeah, I've got all my stuff over on Rumble as well. It automatically uploads. As soon as I upload it to YouTube, it goes to there. So I don't have to do a separate upload. Don't waste any time on it. And it's available for anybody that wants to subscribe. Speaking of which, if y'all could go over and hit the subscribe button, I would appreciate that. Well, wait till you taste it before you say that. Don't know if you're going to like it or not. You go and get your creamer and try it and try and make something like it. Yeah, I can do that later. Add some white fudge. Yeah, I think that would definitely go very well with it. Coffee cheesecake. Oh man, that sounds really good. We made a Brazilian coffee here. Tastes just like a shot of espresso. Fantastic. You can add some whipped cream to it, some cream notes. Delicious. There's so many possibilities out there for us to be able to mix stuff. It's just fantastic. And the thing is, as your ingredients grows, the combinations of things that you can make starts to grow exponentially. Doesn't take very much. All right, folks. I truly appreciate all you guys coming out, hanging out with me while we mix up all this stuff. Dive into some retro vapes. I've got 2 laundry baskets, 2 laundry hampers sitting right back there, full of vape stuff that we bought during the vape apocalypse here in the United States. It's going to take a long time, at least a year's worth of opening something up every single week before I even come close to running out of things to feature on this show. Espresso cheesecake. Let's do the search for it now. Is it called Cheesecake Delight? Five-star rated recipe. What's KH?
I've been acting like a wild man, sleeping like
That's a very interesting idea.
so luminous and vile.
Did you guys happen to notice that?
I'm always in bloom for you. Always in bloom,
Oh, I missed it.
always in bloom.
Where'd it go? Under notes? They literally have where their flavor is in their organized system. Tub 9, drawer A, box C. That is something that's got a lot of flavors. TMB, ECW, Chef's Choice. Mandalorian. It's not AX, yes. Espresso cheesecake. There's his recipe. TPA, coffee liqueur, vape train, espresso, VSO, New York cheesecake, and yes, sweet cheesecake from Inawera. The only Inawera flavor I have is biscuit. I'll have to order some of these. These look fantastic. Espresso cheesecake. But I bet we could make something that would be very close to that. We have the TFA cheesecake. We've got a couple different kind of cheesecakes here. Coffee liqueur. Fantastic. Awesome sauce. Thank you guys for coming out. I truly appreciate it. Let me grab my vape here, because time for me to send my wishes always. Peace, love, and a hunky vape to end cigarette combustion. Wow, is that delicious. Grapes and fruit. Unreal. Just goes to show you, it does matter what tank you put it in, and especially what kind of wattage you're running it at. There is an ideal for every setup. And if you don't know what that is and you don't put those right settings in, you can ruin any flavor that's out there. All right, folks. Peace, love, and a hunky vape is my wish to you. Hope you all have a fantastic day. And I'll be back again next week.
See how you roam while you roam in the streets all alone. All you can see, thinking about what your life came to be. You're a beautiful sight in the summer night, and you can't put up a fight in the misty light. Like the mothers of Brazil find their way. We're all on our own, but you're the most beautiful I've ever known. You're a beautiful sight in the summer night, and you can't put up a fight in the misty light.